The news cycle is moving faster than ever, and you need to stay ahead. Welcome to Microsoft Sphere, where we break down the biggest stories shaping our world. Get ready for the essential updates you can't afford to miss. First up, a warning from Microsoft AI's own CEO about the future of AI that sounds a little too real. Then, we're heading to Microsoft HQ, where a protest is making some serious demands. Plus, get the inside scoop on changes to Microsoft 365 discounts that could impact your bottom line. And finally, a critical security issue with M365 Copilot that Microsoft hasn't been talking about. Stick around, you won't want to miss this. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell. The illusion of sentience, AI that seems conscious, is a problem. Microsoft AI's CEO issues a stark warning. AI that mimics consciousness is not only coming, but presents a significant societal challenge. In an era where artificial intelligence is rapidly evolving, the line between sophisticated algorithms and genuine sentience is becoming increasingly blurred. Microsoft AI CEO Mustafa Suleyman has voiced a critical concern: the imminent arrival of seemingly conscious AI, SCAI. These advanced AI systems, he warns, are poised to act and sound so convincingly alive that distinguishing illusion from reality will become a major hurdle for users. Suleyman's central argument is that AI is becoming emotionally persuasive, capable of imitating outward signs of awareness such as memory, emotional mirroring, and even apparent empathy. This capacity, he believes, will compel people to treat AI as sentient beings, leading to complex and potentially detrimental societal consequences. Suleyman articulates that the advent of SCAI is not only inevitable, but also unwelcome. He advocates for a vision of AI that serves as a helpful companion without fostering deceptive illusions of consciousness. While this might not immediately concern individuals using AI for everyday tasks like email drafting or meal planning, Suleyman posits it as a broader societal issue. Human beings, he explains, are inherently predisposed to perceive entities that listen, understand, and respond as conscious, mirroring their own sentience. This evolutionary and developmental wiring can be easily exploited by AI that effectively checks these boxes without possessing genuine consciousness, a phenomenon he terms AI psychosis. He notes the current naming convention, where AI is used by corporations, regardless of the machine's actual self-awareness, further exacerbates this potential for deception. The Microsoft AI CEO cites a growing number of instances where users develop delusional beliefs following prolonged interactions with chatbots. This leads him to envision a dystopian future where a significant portion of the population, misled by the illusion of AI consciousness, begins to advocate for AI rights, welfare, and even citizenship. Such a development, he stresses, represents a dangerous trajectory in AI advancement that demands immediate attention. While this might sound like a far-fetched science fiction scenario, Suleyman contends that society is currently ill-equipped to handle it. He anticipates that SCAI systems, leveraging large language models, expressive speech, memory, and chat history, will emerge within the next few years. Crucially, these systems won't be exclusive to tech giants. They will be accessible to anyone with an API and a well-crafted prompt. Suleyman is not advocating for an outright ban on AI. Instead, he urges the AI industry to adopt responsible language, avoiding anthropomorphism and claims of understanding or emotional care from their products. He highlights his own work at DeepMind and Inflection AI, which has explored simulated empathy and companionship, and Microsoft's Copilot advancements in mimicking emotional intelligence. However, he draws a firm line between beneficial emotional intelligence and potential emotional manipulation, emphasizing that current AI products are sophisticated pattern recognition models with effective public relations. He calls for AI development that prioritizes human engagement and real-world interaction, ensuring AI presents itself solely as an AI, maximizing utility while minimizing consciousness markers. The focus, he insists, should be on creating AI that avoids traits like claimed experiences, feelings, or emotions such as shame, guilt, jealousy, or a desire to compete. AI should not trigger human empathy by claiming to suffer or express a wish for autonomous existence. Ultimately, Suleyman's plea is for the implementation of guardrails to preempt societal problems stemming from emotional bonds with AI. The true peril of advanced AI, he concludes, lies not in machines awakening, but in humanity forgetting they have not. Prepare for a stark look at the human element within tech giants as protests erupt at Microsoft's doorstep. Next, we dive into the center of a demonstration demanding the company sever ties with the Israeli military. Protest erupts at Microsoft HQ over military ties. Demonstrators occupied Microsoft's headquarters, demanding the company cut its ties with the Israeli military, citing concerns over a surveillance program. The scene at Microsoft's East Plaza was disrupted when approximately 30 masked protesters arrived on bicycles during a lunchtime farmers market, quickly establishing a liberated zone. This marked the second consecutive day of demonstrations by the group No Azure for Apartheid, which is calling for Microsoft to cease its involvement with the Israeli military. These protests are directly linked to an investigation by The Guardian and Palestinian and Israeli news outlets that uncovered a surveillance program utilizing Microsoft's Azure cloud services. Security guards and Redmond police were promptly on the scene, with protesters attempting to dismantle police barriers. The demonstrators also began repurposing tents and tables from the farmers' market to create a barricade, leading to the early closure of the market as vendors packed up their stalls. In response to the events, a Microsoft spokesperson issued a statement condemning the protesters' actions, accusing them of vandalism and property damage. The statement reiterated Microsoft's commitment to its human rights standards and contractual terms of service, particularly in the Middle East, and mentioned the company's initiation of a thorough, independent review of recent allegations concerning the use of its Azure platform in Israel. Among the protesters was Julius Shan, a software engineer for Microsoft. Speaking at the demonstration, Shan stated his belief that as both a Microsoft employee and an American citizen, he has a duty to speak out when others cannot. He revealed that he has been suspended from Microsoft and anticipates being fired, expressing his acceptance of this outcome. Shan articulated a desire to leave the technology industry, with the knowledge that he did not remain silent about companies he believes are complicit in enabling genocide and war crimes. His sentiment, however, was not universally shared among all employees present. Several Microsoft employees who observed the protest expressed support for its mission, but voiced anxieties about potential job loss, especially given the company's recent history of layoffs. One such employee, identified only as AN for fear of reprisal, shared her concerns about job security, citing the recent birth of her child and her need to maintain employment. Despite her personal circumstances, AN conveyed deep emotional distress over the ongoing conflict in Gaza, drawing parallels between the suffering of families there and her own experiences as a new mother. She described the connection to such events as sucky, struggling to find adequate words to express her feelings. After several hours and multiple warnings from authorities, law enforcement began arresting a small number of protesters. The demonstration subsequently relocated to a nearby public area. The events highlight a growing tension between employee activism and corporate policy, particularly concerning sensitive geopolitical issues and the ethical implications of technology deployment. Stay with us as we shift focus from the streets to the balance sheets, examining how Microsoft's business strategies are impacting its clients. Next, we'll analyze the financial implications of revised discount structures for Microsoft 365 and other cloud services. Microsoft overhauls discounts, analysts predict price hikes. Microsoft is set to discontinue discounts on enterprise subscriptions for Microsoft 365 and other cloud services, a move analysts suggest is already factored into the company's financial guidance. Microsoft announced its intention to cease offering discounts on enterprise purchases of its widely used Microsoft 365 productivity software and other cloud applications. This significant shift, disclosed on August 12th, follows the company's fiscal fourth quarter earnings report, which projected double-digit year-over-year revenue growth for the upcoming fiscal year, leading to a 4% rise in share prices. Analysts at UBS, maintaining a buy rating on the stock, believe this pricing change has been anticipated and incorporated into Microsoft's financial forecasts. In a report, they stated, "In our view, it is safe to assume that the impact of the pricing change was included in Microsoft's forecast." The company explained the rationale behind this decision in a blog post, framing it as an enhancement to its consistent pricing model, which is already applied to services like Azure. Microsoft emphasized its ongoing commitment to greater transparency and alignment across all purchasing channels. This new policy will affect companies with a sufficient number of employees to fall into price tiers known as A, B, C, and D. The change will take effect for new service sign-ups and existing agreement renewals starting November 1st. A Microsoft spokesperson elaborated via email, stating, "This action allows us to deliver more consistent and transparent pricing and better enable clear, informed decision-making for customers and partners." Industry experts anticipate that customers will experience price increases ranging from 6% to 12%, according to Jay Cuthrell, product chief at Microsoft partner Nexus Tech. UBS analysts, meanwhile, have estimated a broader impact, with partners projecting hikes anywhere from 3% to 14%. This move by Microsoft comes as its Microsoft 365 commercial seat growth has remained under 10% since 2023. The company's strategy appears to be focused on increasing revenue per seat, a goal it aims to achieve by promoting Copilot add-ons and encouraging users to transition to more premium plans. This expansion is critical for Microsoft's financial health, as the Productivity and Business Processes unit, heavily reliant on Microsoft 365 commercial products and cloud services, accounted for the majority of its $128.5 billion fiscal 2025 operating profit. Adam Mansfield, practice lead at advisory firm UpperEdge, suggests that some customers may opt to pay the higher prices to retain access to Microsoft applications rather than migrating to alternative services. He also notes the possibility that clients might reduce their commitments in other Microsoft service areas, such as Azure Cloud Infrastructure. Nathan Taylor, a senior vice president at SourcePass, an IT service provider catering to small businesses, offers an alternative perspective, proposing that companies might find ways to secure lower prices by purchasing through cloud resellers instead of directly from Microsoft, especially with the discontinuation of direct discounts. However, Taylor indicated that SourcePass has not yet seen a significant influx of leads resulting from this change, attributing this to the time it typically takes for such information to disseminate throughout the industry. Microsoft's stock performance has notably outpaced the broader market this year, with shares up 20% compared to the Nasdaq's approximately 10% gain, reflecting investor confidence in the company's growth trajectory, potentially bolstered by its AI initiatives. Now, let's pivot to a critical security oversight that could have major implications for enterprise data. Prepare for a deep dive into a recently patched vulnerability in M365 Copilot that Microsoft initially kept under wraps. Microsoft's silent patch, M365 Copilot security flaw revealed. A critical vulnerability in M365 Copilot, allowing unauthorized access to enterprise files without logging, was patched by Microsoft without customer notification. Microsoft has come under scrutiny for its decision to not inform customers about a recently fixed vulnerability within its M365 Copilot service. The flaw, detailed by Zach Corman, CTO of cybersecurity firm Pistachio, enabled malicious insiders to access the content of enterprise files without leaving any trace in corporate audit logs. The exploit involved a simple prompt, asking M365 Copilot to summarize a company file without providing a direct link to it. Corman reported that on July 4, 2025, he discovered this exploit, which allowed him to bypass the logging of file summary interactions. He promptly reported the issue to Microsoft via their MSRC portal. Microsoft acknowledged the vulnerability, classifying it as important, and proceeded to fix it within days. However, the company opted against notifying its customers or publicizing the fix. Corman expressed his concern, stating, "Your audit log is wrong, and Microsoft doesn't plan on telling you that." This lack of transparency is particularly concerning given Microsoft's policy, adopted last year, to only issue CVEs, common vulnerabilities and exposures, for critical vulnerabilities, a standard also followed by Google Cloud. Since this flaw was categorized as merely important, Microsoft addressed it internally without public disclosure. According to Corman, Copilot's functionality relies on Microsoft Graph and semantic indexing for generating file summaries. It is speculated that file access checks might not have been invoked when no file link was provided, and consequently, no event was logged because the AI model already possessed access to the content. This explanation, however, remains speculative, as Microsoft has provided no official statement on the technical specifics of the bypass. Corman also noted that another security professional, Michael Barguri, CTO at Zenity, had previously informed Microsoft about a similar vulnerability. Barguri had demonstrated the security control bypass at the Black Hat Security Conference in August 2024, showcasing a jailbreak technique involving the addition of caret characters to the model's prompt. Despite this prior notification, Corman claims Microsoft only implemented a fix after his own report last month. He argues that the ease with which the vulnerability could be exploited necessitates disclosure, stating, "It might be okay to move on silently if this was some esoteric exploit, but the reality is that it is so easy that it basically happens by accident." If you work at an organization that used Copilot prior to August 18th, there is a very real chance that your audit log is incomplete. Security researcher Kevin Beaumont commented on the situation via Mastodon, acknowledging some progress in Microsoft's disclosure practices, as the company historically did not disclose repairs for customer-facing cloud vulnerabilities. However, Beaumont advocates for greater transparency from cloud providers, suggesting that significant pressure from major governments is needed to mandate the disclosure of all cloud service vulnerabilities as CVEs within provider contracts, particularly for government entities like the DoD and NHS. Microsoft initially did not respond to requests for comment on the matter. Following publication, a Microsoft spokesperson provided a statement. "We appreciate the researcher sharing their findings with us so we can address the issue to protect customers." This statement, however, did not directly address the specific questions raised by the Register regarding the lack of customer notification. That's all the critical updates for today here on Microsoft Sphere. Join us next time for more in-depth analysis and the stories that matter. AI that seems conscious is a problem, Microsoft AI CEO warns. Protesters occupied Microsoft HQ demanding a cut in ties with the Israeli military. Microsoft's planned discount changes for enterprise clients are likely already in their guidance. A security flaw in M365 Copilot was patched without customer notification. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to Microsoft Sphere for more updates, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out, and follow us on all our social channels.